Hey everybody out there, it's Dave with DII. Thanks for tuning in today. We're a little bit earlier than normal on our Saturday Handpan live events here. Today I've got my daughter's in a marching band competition. It's like the final one, so I had to reschedule things on my end a little bit. So thanks for showing up early. If you're on the East Coast, this might be like a perfect time for you. It's probably like 12:30 or something like that. So lunchtime, you can hang out and watch the show. Otherwise, here we are on the West Coast, 9:30 a.m., enjoying the morning. And I just want to get started. So I'm Dave. I'm the owner of Dave's Island Instruments, and I make and tune the handpans that we sell here. If you need any more information about us, go to our website,
Whoa.
and you can find all sorts of information about our instruments and the stuff that we sell here at DII and the services that we provide. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Click the red subscribe button. You'll see whenever we post something new, you'll be able to see that pop up. Sometimes we post different videos on how to play handpans, how to play ukuleles. We've got ukulele classes, handpan classes, and from time to time, I will post interesting things about tuning handpans and that sort of thing as well. So a lot of people enjoy the channel, and so subscribe now if you haven't already. All right, so today we're going to. Oh, another thing quickly, we have lessons coming up, or we have lessons online. So if you want to go and learn more about how to play the handpan, we've got some online lessons. And if you go to our website, davesislandinstruments.com, you can go to I believe it's the services tab, and you can find the online lessons there. So if you're a beginner and you're looking to learn a little bit more to play handpan, you can go to that online lessons, subscribe, and learn all about it. We've got specific classes all about the handpans that we provide and sell here at DII, and they're really informational, and you'll really love it. I think it's going to be very educational for you. All right, anything else? Let me think. Daniel, are you there? Where's Daniel?
Yo. Hey. Boom.
There he is.
Hey.
How's it going, Daniel?
Good, good. We're doing old school live from the houses, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I like this. It
Yeah.
feels, I don't know why, it's comfortable. It's like the way we started, so it feels like home.
No, seriously, and
Yeah,
we have a lot. This was a great year actually, and we have a lot more stuff coming. So I'm excited. This is like,
that's right.
no, it's awesome. So how's it
Yeah, a
going,
couple
Dan?
weeks ago, yeah, a couple weeks ago, you and I did a live show, and we were talking about the sale coming up. We've got a sale coming up, right?
Yes, it's holiday. It's that time of the season. I think Black Friday is next week or whatever, and yeah, people are shopping, getting holiday gifts, and it's that time of year. I'm excited.
Yep, we talked all about the different instruments we have for sale. I'm going to talk about them just generally right now. We've got this reissue right now. We've got this nitrided Gaia model handpan. I haven't made a Gaia model handpan for a while with the nitrided steel. And
Mm.
basically, the nitrided steel is the essential difference between this model and some of the other models that we offer here. It's all about the nitrided steel. Some people really like the nitrided sound and that sort of, and the feel and the touch. So we're offering that again. We also have the stainless steel back here. We call this the RS model handpan. A lot of people really like the sustain and the quality of sound they got out of the stainless model. Over here, we've got a Clarity model, a Luna Clarity. By the way, these two here, the nitrided Gaia and the stainless RS, these are 21-inch diameter. And this one over here, the Luna model, is 20-inch diameter. So it's slightly larger here, slightly smaller here. This is powder coated with a clear coat and has a nice warm full sound to it. And we also have a satin model. This is a rental. We have rentals here at DII. We usually have the rentals with a yellow bottom to indicate that they're a rental. This is a satin finish, so you can see it's not quite as glossy as the Luna Clarity. But those are basically the four models that we offer here. We also have an Ohm Drum, which has tongues on the bottom. And I don't have one here as a sample, but on the bottom shell, it's got tongues that vibrate. And it's a very unique instrument that a lot of people are enjoying these days, too. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you that if you're watching right now and you're interested in our handpans, that's just a quick rundown of what we have here. We're going to be selling these things I think it's going to be coming up on Cyber Monday, I think is when we're going to start
Hmm.
the sale.
Well, there's a
So it's
lot.
the Monday after Thanksgiving.
There's been a lot of interest in the hand pans, and I would suggest if you guys are thinking about it for a gift or anything, right now we do have a good stock, but Christmas is coming, and you
Oh,
might
yeah,
want
yeah.
to you might want to get on the ball. There's if you guys are out of town, shipping has been kind of an issue. Um, But yeah, we want to make sure that you guys have the right information so you can get your handpan if you guys are thinking about it right now. And what Dave was talking about, the Gaia, I love that with the texture and all that. It's
Right.
so nice. Yeah, I play the Luna Clarity, which is awesome. But I love all the handpans. So yeah, come in, like set up the appointments. You guys can set up appointments. That's what we're doing. You can do it virtually, or you could come in if you're local. And so, yeah, right now it's brewing. So if you guys want to get your handpan, you might want to come check them out soon. So
Yep, yep. So yeah, so we talked all about that last week. This week I'm going to talk a little bit about some special techniques that you can do on the handpans, and you can learn how to play with some of these special techniques. As beginners, a lot of times beginners, and this is what really this class is mostly geared toward, is beginners. Um, and by the way, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to put it into the comments section. We can read them live and get back to you right now live as you're watching. So if you have any questions, comments, feel free to put those in the comments section, and we will try to reply to you ASAP. But yeah, sometimes beginners, first of all, beginners have questions just about how to get that tone, right? A nice full tone out of the note. Sometimes beginners curl their fingers and they kind of swipe at the notes like this, and that doesn't always provide like a really clean, clear sound. Other times, sometimes beginners will hit it with like a dead hit like this, and it doesn't create the sustain because when they're hitting it with a dead hit, they're muting the note because their finger is staying on the note just for a short duration of time or a long duration of time, depending on the player. So even if it's there just for half a second, it will mute it just a little bit and it won't produce the sound that you want. So getting the initial tone out of the instrument for beginners is a big deal. Once they get that, then all of a sudden, boom, then they can engage and really enjoy the instrument like 10 times more than they were before because they've got that feel. Daniel, what do you think about with the beginners that you've worked with in the feel and the touch, and how long does it take for somebody to kind of get that?
well, usually, well, I could just use myself as an example. I remember when you put the handpan in front of me, it was a Gaia, and it was
Okay.
the older style Gaia. So they were kind of, the notes weren't as resonant as the as like an Aris or a Luna or anything like that. So
Yeah.
when I was playing it, it was hard to activate the notes. So as a beginner, yeah, I think everybody's different, and it depends on how much you actually practice. Usually, what I give people is the scale notes. If you could do that really quick, Dave, like
Oh
just
yeah.
do from the low. Yeah, and just to
Yeah.
learn that in a smooth fashion is, I think, the first step for me. That's what it was. It was just doing that scale. And that's how
Yeah.
usually I test every single pan, because it's easy to do. And you can
Right.
see, like, if you keep the same pattern, you can tell the differences between the hand pans. So
Yeah.
activating your fingers and practicing in the beginning, I think usually that's like, it all depends. Some people get it like really quick. Some people like it, may take a while, but as long as you're consistently hitting, you'll get that flow on your hands, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, and there's different ways you can get the sounds out of the instrument. We talked about this before in different classes and that sort of thing. Obviously, ultimately, what I'm going to be talking about in this class pretty soon is like some special techniques I want to kind of review with you guys. But
Yeah.
just in general, as we're moving along, for a lot of beginners out there, they feel like they have to hit it in one certain way in order to get the sound.
Mm-hmm.
But you can use any of your fingers. You can use your knuckles to produce sounds on the instruments. So there's a variety of ways you can play this instrument. And really, what you're doing is you're just trying to figure out the best finger or the best method to produce the sound that you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to have a nice full sound, maybe you play with that technique, which I just played just now with my index fingers. And they were kind of flat on the instrument, just bouncing off the notes. But if you wanted to have like a more subtle sound, maybe you play with your pinkies. Right, something like that. Or if you wanted to play something with your thumbs. There's all sorts of different ways that you can play the instrument to get different sounds out of the instrument. So, but in general, all of those techniques require some practice. So that's the key. Really, is you just need to refine and put some concentration on each one of those sounds that you want to create, so that when you are playing, you can effectively use those techniques that you learned. So that's pretty much it on the spectrum of learning how to play the notes and getting a good sound out of it. Just a real brief
Mm.
commentary
I
there.
think one of the questions that come up a lot is where do I hit it within the tone fields?
Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah.
And basically there's no rules. That's the beauty of the handpan. You have what you have in your hand. You have like 9 notes on top, but still you have the interstitial metal. You have your notes that Dave tunes to the octave and the fundamental. Is that correct? An octave and the fifth.
Fundamental, octave, and fifth. Yeah.
Right, right. And so you have the full spectrum of the note. There's some handpans out there that just do one tunk. It's like just one note,
Yeah.
but you have like on the Dave's Islands, like all around the note, and then everywhere you hit it, it's gonna be a different. If it's the D note on top, it's gonna be a different sounding D, I guess, like low versus high. So, that you have all these little nuances. So what I feel it does come down to the techniques that you actually use on the handpan, like you were saying, and
Yeah.
it just takes practice, and you'll find new ones. Right now, the beauty is that you can express whatever you're trying to express in your music any way you want right now,
Hmm.
and you can figure it out, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's really creative.
Yeah. All right. So moving beyond just the basics, a lot of people are fascinated with handpans because they see people playing online and they're doing all these special techniques which create these special sounds out of the instrument. So I just kind of want to review some of those sounds that they might be seeing out there. Just in just before I do that, though, I want to explain how the handpan is built just a little bit so that people can understand like what I'm talking about when I do get to these special techniques. So Daniel just talked about how the notes are tuned with the fundamental, octave, and fifth. And so you'll notice that most of the handpan notes are kind of an oval shape. They're not like a circle. They're more ellipse shaped, right? And so you're going to notice there's just the basic middle of the note. If you play the middle of the note, you're going to get the nice fullest sound out of that note, and that would be basically activating all three of those pitches that we were just talking about: the fundamental pitch, the octave, and the fifth. And so if you play in the middle, it's going to get that nice full fundamental sound. So that's the basic sound of the note. So if this is like an F natural, you're really hearing F natural right now. The length of the note, the length of that oval shape is where the octave is tuned. So you can hear like a higher sound there. So we have the basic fundamental sound, and then if I hit up here, it's kind of a whispery sounding A rather than a full A. Right, so that's the octave, and then through the side, la la la, it's way up there. You have a fifth, and over here it might be easier to hear on this one. So this is a D, octave D, and then the fifth is the A. So, and the fifth goes through the width of the note. So those are some basic essential things that you need to know about how the notes are tuned in order to utilize those pitches when you're playing. And those are basically represented on pretty much every note on a handpan, including the ding. So in the ding note, we've got the fundamental pitch in the center. We've got the octave through the middle, or through the length of the note. And through the width of the note, we've got a fifth. You can kind of hear that note there when I bend it. All right. So those are three different things that you can play around with on each note to create different sounds. So as you're playing, if you want to just play something like this, and you want to get, so this is the full sound that I'm using, the fundamental sound. But if I wanted to get like a softer, wispier sound, then I can play on the very edge of the note where the octave is, the length of the note, the very edge of the length of the note. And it creates that more delicate sound. Now, if you go to the width side of the note, on the edge of the width, you're going to get more of the fifth sound. So you can get the full fundamental sound in the middle. Then you can play the octave area to get more of a delicate sound out of that. The phone is ringing. And then you can get the fifth sound. Like that. So those are three different things that you can get out of these notes, three different pitches and three different kind of sounds that you can get out of these notes, which can be effectively used when you're playing. So let's just play something really quick. I'll play something simple. Now if I just switch to the octave sounds, like that. You get the octave sound. It sounds like that, kind of wispy. And then if you wanted to play the fifths might be a little bit more difficult on a passage like that. Sometimes on the A, I'm using a technique right now where I am muting part of the note with my ring finger, and then snapping my index finger down on where the fifth is. And that actually took me quite a while to figure out how to use that technique. Right? So we were playing something like this. Octaves is pretty easy. Oh, excuse me. Right? Because I'm just touching the edge. But the fifths, and now I'm having to kind of mute the middle of the note, which is the fundamental, with my ring finger, and then snap the fifth with my index finger. Same thing here. You can see my ring finger is just gently resting on the center of the note here. And then my index finger is snapping down on that fifth area. Right? So that can be kind of tricky. Now, there's another way to play those fifths as well. You couldn't really do it as quickly as this. Right? But you can, if you wanted to, mute with the left hand or whatever non-dominant hand you have is. So you can just barely touch the center of the note. Let's see if you can see it better over here. Yeah. And then just strike that fifth area with your other finger. So you're muting just gently, as if like you could just barely put a feather between your finger and the note, and you're not holding it down tightly. You just basically have, like, you're just holding the feather there, just barely. So it's still able to ring and resonate the fifth. You can actually either do it here or maybe here on the octave. Either one works. But now you can hear that harmonic coming out. So here's the E. That's the fundamental. There's the fifth. Over here, here's our D. Right, so if you mute it, you can get that fifth out of the width area of the note. So I got those fifths like that. So at that passage that I was playing earlier, you could play that just as it is with that fundamental sound, or you could play it with the octaves. Or you can play the fifths. And again, if you can't play the fifths super fast, that's okay, just play it slower. Right? So it's something like that. You could play it and maybe make a little bit of a musical passage out of it. Maybe slow it down. And then. Right? So you started out with a nice full sound, you slowed it down, played the octaves, it gets a little quieter, you slow it down even some more, and you play the fifths. So the fifths are kind of a fun little thing to play around with, especially if you can learn how to use this technique where you can just play it basically with one hand. I mean, it is possible also just to kind of touch, kind of like you did on the octave here, near the edge of the end of the note, like you're creating the octave sound. You can do something similar by just touching the area where the fifth is, but it tends to pull in a lot more of the fundamental and the octave sounds that way. So if you can mute it, it just gets a more of a refined fifth sound. So that's all. And that is about that. Okay, so those are some unique ways of playing the notes uh, on the handpan that not every beginner really understands or knows about. And then I also want to show you a couple little fun things about the ding note here. The ding note, sometimes you'll hear people do a pitch bend. And so a pitch bend is where you put one finger here, and you hear how the pitch dips from low to high, like that. Doo doo. So all handpans are made slightly differently, including the ones that I build. So it very much depends on exactly where you put your one finger to help assist with that pitch bend. So, for instance, you'll notice that my left hand is finding a spot around the length of the note, which is where the octave is, and it's very specific. Sometimes it'll just be like a half inch here, a half inch there will make a big difference. But on this instrument, I found that right here is a good spot for me to press down. So I'm firmly pressing down on the note and then striking the fifth area and then lifting up. And you can hear how the pitch goes from low to high. So if I press down here, it works a little bit. That was pretty good. That was actually pretty good. But over here, it doesn't work at all. I'm just about 1 inch away. So it has to be just right here. I'm like, again, I'm like a 3/4 of an inch over on this side now, and it's not working. That works there, does not work there. So I'm just barely moving my finger here, the one that's pressing down, slightly to the left or the right, and it's not working. So for a lot of beginners, that's a little bit of a mystery, is like, how do you find that spot? And that one's just something where you just have to figure it out after a while. And if you can learn how to mute, first of all, and activate that fifth, la la la, that you're hearing there. So there's the fundamental. There's the fifth, higher. If you can learn how to mute it first and then activate that fifth, then you can start experimenting with pressing down to see if it will change that pitch. Oh, did it change it there? Yeah, definitely. Did it change it there? No, can't even hear it. If I push over here, it does something different. If I push here, I can't hear it. If I'm pushing here, oh, I can hear the fifth. So really what you're doing is you're just kind of identifying where that fifth is. And figuring out exactly where you need to hit or press down on the note in order to activate that fifth, press down on it to bend it downwards, and then release it to let the pitch go back up. So that's a pitch bend is what I call it. Hey, Daniel, are you still there? Are you still there in the background?
Yes, I am, Dave. I'm still
Hey, just
here.
wondering. Right on. Hey, have you had experience much with the pitch bend? Have you explored that much?
Um, I do quite a bit. I like to use it to, I don't know, it's just another technique or another
Yeah,
sound
yeah,
that I use. Like maybe give an example, like do a song and then add a pitch bend into it,
yeah,
or
yeah,
something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
yeah, yeah. Hey, have you also explored any of those other kind of like things, like with getting the octaves and the fifths and that sort of thing?
Um, for for yeah, it all depends on how I'm playing. Like
Uh huh.
sometimes I'll use, like, I don't know if you can hear this.
Yeah.
So if you use that, oh, I don't know if you can hear that.
We could hear it. Couldn't
Okay.
see it, but I could hear it.
But like as you're playing the notes, you can do it that way instead of just hitting it. So
Oh, okay, okay.
so I do the pitch bends on the different notes, and then you can accent like arpeggio it with a
Right,
pitch
right, right.
bend, or you just use it as an ending. That's really cool.
Right, 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 right. Yeah,
Or
you're
you
right.
can
You're
use
right,
it,
right, right.
or you can use it as a start. So
Exactly.
it's
No,
like
that's a good point. Yeah, I think I was talking about the technical end of like how to do it, but you're right. Like in performance, how do you use it then? Like what at what point do I use that? And you're totally right. That's a great way to start it. Kind of gets people's attention, like, oh, something's gonna happen, or
yeah,
at the very end, like a right,
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
super fun.
No, it's super
Yeah,
fun.
so
You can use it in the song. It's just another technique that you can use. a lot of times it is good for the ending or the middle, or actually when you're in a song and you just kind of want to accent something, then yeah, then you use that. Like so,
Yeah,
you're doing a verse or something like that, and then you just want to accent, like put a period on it,
yeah,
and
right,
then you
right,
go. It's those. It's like it's you can use it as a pause too, which is
right.
that's what I like using it too. So
Very
there's all
cool. Yeah,
just
yeah,
learn the technique, and then as you as you're going, just think about it and go, oh, I want to add it here and see how it sounds. That's
yeah, yeah. No, that's a great idea. It's really interesting. I wasn't even thinking about how to apply it. I was only thinking about how to like create the sound. So that's great. Thank you
Yeah,
for that.
maybe Dave, do
those
that.
ideas.
Maybe play a little bit and show people how that is used in a song. I guess maybe as a start
With
and
like
a
the
finish. Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I do that too.
Right, just like floats there. It's pretty
But
fun.
Dave, you have that cool technique where you're doing it with your fingers inside
Oh
like
yeah,
that. Oh my god, that one's tough, but it's
yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah.
It's fun to practice, and once you do got it, like it looks super cool, and
Yeah,
you
exactly.
make
It's
you
it's
make
not just the sound; it's the look too.
yeah,
Yeah,
it is. Actually, when
yeah.
people see my hands moving, that's what they're like, "Oh my god!" It's kind of like the like when I play ukulele, I watch people's fingers
Oh sure,
on
yeah,
the fretboard. It's exactly the same. You're just like entranced with the whole thing. It's pretty cool.
yep, yep.
Oh, and Melissa Hunter, she said this is super interesting. Here, I'll add it to the broadcast. And also, she's been trying it and she got it to work.
Oh
So
wow, good,
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, thanks, Melissa. Thanks for commenting. That's great.
No, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
so yeah, so those are a couple little features of the different notes that you can do. I've got a couple more here to show you. So we were talking about pitch bending here on the ding note, right? You can kind of do it sometimes on the D or the E, maybe the C natural, maybe a little bit on the A. You can, if you push down near the rim with your thumb and kind of roll your thumb like this. So you're applying pressure on the width area, which is the fifth. If you just kind of roll your thumb like that, but you have to apply some pressure. You can see how that changes the pitch. Right? So you can kind of do some interesting stuff like that. And you can see how I'm rocking my finger back and forth. Kind of creates this wow, 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 wow sound. Let's see if I can do it on the D. A little bit. Doesn't quite work on these notes here because the way the note is situated, it's not the same. It's not the same direction. This note was tuned this direction. This note was tuned this direction. So it doesn't quite work. Also, the pitches get higher in register, which makes them a little bit of a tighter note. So everything's hard. It doesn't bend as easily. So I found that pretty much the E bends pretty easily. The D bends pretty easily. Again, you can see how I'm rocking my thumb there. I'm kind of gripping the bottom of the rim so I can clasp my hand like that. And so I'm rolling my thumb. I'm actually applying quite a bit of pressure like that to create that little vibrato sound. But those are fun. Like, and similarly, like if you play the pitch bend here, and you can maybe do a little vibrato. I like to slow it down. These are usually not a rhythmic thing where I'm trying to keep a rhythm. Like I'm not trying to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I'm not usually trying to do that. It's usually like a little sound effect idea. So if I'm playing, so that's in time, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, and then I'll stop, and then maybe just kind of put these in for fun like that. You can sometimes do it on C. Sometimes the A works. I really like the C, D, and E are usually my favorite notes. So those are some pretty cool sound effects you can get out of those notes by just rolling your thumb along the area right at the base of the note near the rim where the fifth is. So that's the width of the note. And you just kind of roll from the outside of the note area towards the inside of the note area, towards the outside of the note area, towards the inside of the note area. And it's pretty fun. I like that. So that's a cool sound effect.
No, that's a cool
You can
technique.
also, yeah, it's interesting, huh? It just has this really kind of like, oh, what's going on there sound.
No, it
Yeah.
sounds awesome, and I like what you're doing because a lot of people don't realize like the all the different things you can do. Because like one of the things is like they know they can hit one note,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't know they can hit two or three at the same time. And then when I
Oh,
start
yeah,
doing
that too. Yeah,
that,
good point.
it's pretty funny. So, but you can add all these techniques, and that's one of the things that I teach is just practice the techniques. It's like kung fu, and then you
Yeah,
add them all together, which is fun. Like you're like, oh, I can do this, and then you just
yeah,
do it within the time. So cool.
yeah. Speaking of playing, with two notes on one hand and that sort of thing, I totally didn't even think about that. But yes, as a beginner, you can learn how to play one note at a time. But then as you grow and get more experience, you can learn how to use your thumb and your finger together. So now I'm playing two notes. I'm playing the A and the D. Over here, I'm playing the C and the E. So two notes at the same time. Over here, sometimes I'll stretch out my fingers. So I'm playing one note with my index finger and one note with my ring finger. Same thing over here. So that's kind of a cool special technique. Another thing, I was watching some other player play the other day, and they were playing this cool kind of thing like that. A little flourish, I would call it. And so there, you're starting out with the index finger basically on the ding note. Your thumb is hitting the A. I'm using my ring finger over here. But you could probably use any of your fingers if you warm up to it. And I'm just moving very quickly, like that with my right hand. Right? And then I'm finishing it off over here with this note here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is basically the notes that I'm playing here. But if you move it really fast, it's kind of cool. And you could probably do the same thing with your left hand. I haven't really practiced with my left hand too much. But you get the idea. You have that kind of interesting little flourish. By the way, just as I was exploring that with my left hand just now, when I first started, I was kind of a little stiff. I was trying to kind of force it with my muscles, but then I realized if I relaxed a little bit, it actually felt a little bit more natural and it sounded better. So there you go. That's right. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe, everybody, when you're practicing these things. All right, so there's a couple more special techniques, and I'm saving the best for last. The best technique that I think a lot of people want to learn is how to sing the ding. So it's a way of getting that fifth harmonic to create this cool little sustained sound. And I want to give you a couple pointers on how to create that. As you can see, I'm sort of getting it right now, but it's not really sustaining the way you've maybe heard a lot of players on YouTube and that sort of thing sustain their notes. I'm going to try this one really quick to see if I can get better results on this one. Wow, look at that. Almost immediate results. So all handpans are not tuned and made alike. And so it depends on the shape of the ding, what it was finished with, like if it was powder coated or if it was not powder coated. So if you want to try to get that singing the ding sustained sound, you need to have some considerations. Don't get super frustrated right up front and think to yourself, "Oh, I can't do it. It's all me. It's my fault." It might not be your fault. It might be something about the attributes of the instrument itself that make it more difficult to create that sound. So, for instance, on this powder coated finish, the glossy finish is actually makes it a little bit easier for your skin to rub against it. So basically, what's happening is your skin is rubbing kind of like a violin bow, the strings on a violin bow rubbing and creating a vibrating sound on the string of the violin. So on the violin, it's basically rubbing that string and creating vibrations. So the same kind of thing is happening here. The skin is like the bow, and the note here, the ding, or with these dimples, are kind of like the string on the violin. So you're basically just trying to vibrate that skin on that note right there, on that the raised portion of the ding, to create that sustained sound. And like you just saw, I was kind of able to get it going on this one a little bit. There it goes, a little bit better now. Over here, it was much easier for me to get it started. I'm at a strange angle now. There it goes. Another thing to consider is the humidity in the air. Sometimes if it's really, really dry, I'm not able to do it very well. And I think it's because this is just too dry. The skin is too dry, and it just wipes over it as if nothing's there, and it's just too dry and too soft and too non-sticky. So sometimes if it is dry, I will actually just breathe on it like that to get some condensation on my hand. And sometimes that will help create the sound, and I'm able to sustain that sound a little bit more than normal. You also notice right now I'm kind of activating that fifth right before I try getting it to sustain. And I'm doing that because basically by prepping the note like that, the fifth's already starting to vibrate. So by getting it to vibrate initially, it makes continuing that vibration, and basically it's like kind of like getting a head start if you were running or something like that. You're getting a head start, and then you're like turning on the machine or turning on the motor or something. So you're rolling forward, and you turn on the motor, and you keep it going. So the opposite is also true as far as moisture. So I was talking about moisture. If my hand is too dry, it's sometimes difficult to get that sustained sound. Also, the opposite is true if I'm sweating a lot, or if I'm like really in a moist environment. Sometimes it's too moist, and then it just slips off of the instrument also, so it doesn't create the right kind of tackiness. Another thing too is it could be that your instrument has some kind of residue on it, either some kind of oil like Phoenix oil or frog lube or something like that, and those are specifically made to kind of be like a lubricant. So that's not going to help you with getting that vibrating sound out of the ding note. So sometimes you can just clean it off with something like a glass cleaner, right? Just spray some on, wipe it off. Make sure that you know that that's not going to be bad on your instrument. Mostly, it's not, as long as you wipe it away completely. Basically, what you're doing is going to spray it on, wipe it off completely dry, and that's also, if it's like a glass cleaner, it's going to remove some of those oils and that sort of thing from that note, if that's cool with you and the manufacturer. Hey, Daniel.
Yeah.
And then once it's clean, it might grip your skin a little bit better. Same thing with your skin. Like if you just ate a juicy hot dog or a hamburger or some French fries or something like that, you might have that oil or grease on your hand that's inhibiting the resonating of that or the vibrations that you're trying to create on that ding note. So those are a couple hints. Now I've got one more special hint. Daniel, are you ready for this? Or do you have a question?
I want to talk more about that singing the ding or doing that because I have a bad problem with that. I can't even do it.
Okay, yeah.
And I think this is a advanced technique, and some people's hands are different, just like you were saying, and stuff like that.
Definitely.
But it's amazing, and I love what you do. I kind of liken it to when you do the wine glasses.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's the exact same thing.
It's almost the exact same thing. You moisten your finger and you just rub it, and it makes that sound, and that's what it is. I can't do it in a song, but Dave, can you show us, like, play a little bit and then add that sound into it?
Let me see if I can try.
Yeah,
Let me see here.
Because I've heard you do it, and it was so amazing.
right? So something like that, right?
No, it's awesome, and it's
Yeah.
funny because like you're so good at your techniques, Dave, and sometimes I hear you playing, and then when you add that sound, I'm like, oh my, because I know how
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
it is to do, and then to actually do it within a song is amazing. So
Yeah.
thank you for
No, it
sharing.
is. Oh yeah.
I just wanted people to know that because that it does sound awesome when you actually do it, and actually
Oh,
I've
totally.
seen players do it inside the was it Cavassau was doing it inside the dimples. Like he could do
Right.
it.
I was trying to figure out that some, like I said, some people can do this really easily. Some people just walk up to it and boom, it just happens.
So
It might be like the tightness or looseness of their skin or whatever it is.
yeah,
But yeah, some people can even do it on the dimples themselves on the smaller notes.
yeah.
And
I
I've
was.
never been able to achieve that. That's pretty
It
cool.
was pretty odd because like I seen him rubbing it like that, and I was just like, "Oh my god, that's so cool!"
Yeah, yeah.
That's some serious kung fu stuff. So
Yeah, it's probably a technique thing, and I think if I studied it a little bit more, I could probably maybe at least get a couple of them to do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so but that's real fascinating. Oh, by the way, another thing, like you were talking about, what were we talking about? You just said something about
The
oh
wine glasses.
the
Yeah,
wine glasses. Yeah. So like here's one of those singing bowls, right? And if you rub the edge of a singing bowl,
yeah. It does the same thing.
it does the same kind of thing, right? Creates
Mm-hmm.
that vibrating sound.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one reason I think a lot of people really enjoy the sound of of creating that sustained sound, singing the ding, is it kind of see how all of a sudden my skin got dry.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
having a hard time doing it again. So if I breathe on a little bit, it usually helps. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, it gives it very much of a singing bowl kind of quality, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people in meditation techniques and that sort of thing, or meditation classes or yoga classes, this is really an effective way to kind of get people's attention and or just let them drift off one or the other. So that's one thing that I think is really cool about handpans is being able to sing the ding. So I wanted to show you for some people that out there that are really frustrated and haven't been able to attain that singing the ding technique ever. I've got this product called Dry Hands. It looks kind of like that. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. Um, but Dry Hands is pretty fascinating stuff. This stuff it's made for like exercising to keep your hands dry so that you don't like drop the weights or something like that. But I just put like a little itty bitty dab, just a small little droplet on like the fatty part of the base of my thumb. Rub it around, just kind of like let it dry for a second. And this stuff usually really helps once it kind of gets activated. Maybe I put too much on. Yeah, once it gets started, I can really feel it grab, and it really helps me when I'm trying to, like, if there's a ding out there that's like I'm struggling with and I can't get it to sing. If I use that Dry Hands, man, it really helps, and I can get it really fast. And sometimes it gets almost too loud. So I believe what it really is it's kind of like if you understand, like I was talking about violins and violin bows. On a violin bow, they have this stuff called rosin, and it's basically like tree sap of some sort. It's really sticky, and they put it on the bow to get those bow strings really, really sticky, so that when they get onto the string of the violin, it vibrates a lot. It really adds that stickiness, which allows it to vibrate a lot more than just the bow strings themselves. So I think this is kind of like rosin to some degree, like on a bowstring. So if you're struggling with getting the singing the ding on your handpan, and you've never quite been able to do it or whatever, give us a call. We have some of these bottles of Dry Hands in stock, and we can help you out with that. Otherwise, I think you can even find it online on Amazon or something like that. But anyway, check it out. Those are basically some of the techniques I wanted to talk to you about today. If nobody has any further comments or questions, I think we're going to wrap it up. Daniel, do you have any other comments or questions?
Nothing right now. Just like we were talking about, we've been just really busy. We have a lot of interest in the handpan. So if you guys are looking to get a new handpan as a gift or or getting it for yourself, you definitely want to set those appointments and come in and check them out. Also, we do sell ukuleles, like the ones behind me.
Mm-hmm.
I just picked up some
Mm-hmm.
cool Ohana ukuleles, and I find it's kind of funny when you play music, you want to play all the instruments. And, for me, I started out with the ukulele. Now I love playing handpan, and there's a lot of other things that we're doing. Actually, one thing I do want to share is Dave I played a gig just recently last weekend for this gentleman's 50th birthday, and he wanted to hear handpan. And I know we get this question a lot: is how to hook up your handpan.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and Dave actually, who is it? Who has that magnetic thing? Who makes that?
That's Tracy.
What is it called?
Tracy's insole, the insole microphone.
Insole microphone. And I'll show
Insole,
you.
yeah.
Actually, I'll pull it out here. I'll show you what it looks like. But basically, let's see if I can do this.
Yeah.
You have this. It's a magnet. Oh yeah, actually, it's a magnet that goes, and then it hooks onto your handpan, like on top, and then you put the other one in the middle. Let me see if you guys can hear this. But people have been wanting, like, the last weekend when I did the event, they couldn't hear the handpan because there was a lot of people and it wasn't in a good acoustic area. But if I had this, which I think I have on. Whoa. Almost spilled it.
Oops. Yeah.
Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
So now that's hooked up into the electronics, and this is going through the thing, so you can hear it a lot better. And actually,
Yeah.
I was doing it with my little amp, and I couldn't hear it. But then I used this hookup, and I added the effects, and oh my god, it was so awesome because you had like echo, and when you do that,
Oh, yeah.
it's just amazing. I was like, wow,
Yep.
and it was just echoing through the whole place, and I was like, yeah, this is what I needed for the thing. So we're gonna do more experiments on it because I know people are asking about that. I have used mics. It doesn't get loud enough unless you have the gain turned up a lot, and it just kind of sometimes you get like the peaking and all that stuff. So this,
Yeah.
I want to do more testing on this because this seems like it's a really good deal. So if you guys are
Yeah.
looking to play and electrify, we're doing some tests on this, and it sounds really. I like it. I like the sound that comes out for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very helpful to have that direct signal.
Yeah.
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 Well, cool. All right. If anybody else out there has any final comments, we're ready. But I think we're.
I don't see any, but this was awesome.
Yeah.
Dude. You're actually, if you can play and maybe add some of those techniques as we go out that you talked about, that'd be pretty awesome. I am sure.
All right, I'll
people
do it.
wanna
I'll
have
do what I can. Yeah, I'll see what I can come up with here.
All right.
All right, man. Daniel, thanks for tuning in with us. Thanks
No
for being
worries.
part of it.
Thank you everybody for joining. We love to share music, and there's more to come for sure. Happy holidays,
That's right.
everybody.
Yep, that's right. See you later.